6:15, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Romesh Piris, read by Soundithavam. The Presidential Task Force on Economic Revival and Poverty Eradication convened at Temple Trees. COVID recoveries on the rise. Sri Lanka's largest army improvised COVID-19 hospital to be ready soon. The Piliyandala public market closed after more than 100 test positive for COVID-19. The Minister of Youth and Sports says the opposition should support the government in the fight against the pandemic instead of being divisive. The payment of additional compensation to the depositors of Swarna Mahal Financial Services to begin from Monday. In international news, the EU and India agree to resume FTA negotiations. In sports, it's athletics. Ushant Tivankar sets new Sri Lanka and South Asia high jump record. The Presidential Task Force on Economic Revival and Poverty Eradication convened at Temple Trees today, headed by its chairman Basil Rajapaksa. When the importation and distribution of fertilizer was discussed at the meeting, former Minister Rajapaksa instructed the officials to take steps to provide fertilizer required for paddy cultivation during the Maha season to the farmers in a timely manner. He pointed out that the timely supply of water and fertilizer to farmers could increase production capacity in a short period of time. It was revealed that the fertilizer requirement for this year is 708,910 metric tons. A portion of the fertilizer required for the Maha season has been provided to farmers, and the National Fertilizer Secretariat has stated that stocks are being received for the systematic distribution of the remaining amount. Rajapaksa has instructed that an environment be created where farmers can purchase fertilizer at any given time. Sri Lanka's coronavirus recoveries rose to 104,463 today. The epidemiology unit of the Ministry of Health said 1,365 individuals recovered from the coronavirus and were discharged during the past 24 hours. Accordingly, 17,985 persons are currently being treated for COVID-19, while 1,314 persons suspected to have contracted the virus are under medical observation. The number of COVID-19 cases confirmed in the country increased to 123,234, following the detection of 1,896 patients yesterday. Meanwhile, 8,750 individuals were administered the coronavirus jabs yesterday as part of the government's vaccination drive. The Ministry of Health in a statement said 7,130 individuals received the second dose of the AstraZeneca Covishield vaccine, while 1,327 persons were inoculated with the Russian-manufactured Sputnik V vaccine as well. After the World Health Organization granted approval for emergency use of the Chinese-manufactured Sinopharm vaccine, Sri Lanka rolled out jabs received from the Chinese government as a donation as well. Accordingly, 293 individuals were given the first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine. The construction of a 1,200-bed hospital with all state-of-the-art health facilities by the Sri Lanka Army in Seedua for the benefit of COVID patients is nearing completion. The Army improvised COVID-19 hospital in Seedua, constructed with the support of the Brandix Green Plant and the Army Seva Vanitha unit, is the first ever biggest COVID-19 hospital in the country. The hospital is equipped with state-of-the-art health facilities and can be used for other clinical purposes as well. It is the first hospital in Sri Lanka to have emergency treatment facilities, isolation units, intensive care unit, dispensaries, patient resuscitation units, and many more facilities, and it was built in a short period of 1 week. Commenting on the completion of the hospital, General Shavendra Silva said that the Army has already provided more beds for the capacity of the hospital and the intermediate care centres, and has also provided beds for the intensive care units. The Piliyandala public market has been closed until further notice, following the detection of several COVID-19 positive cases from the premises. The Medical Officer of Health for Piliyandala, Dr. Indika Ellavala, stated that PCR tests were carried out on the vendors and other individuals at the Piliyandala public market on May 7th, and that the results of 269 persons have currently been received. He said according to these results, a total of 101 persons infected with the COVID-19 virus have been identified. Therefore, the MOH officials and the police officers of Piliyandala have decided to close the premises of the Piliyandala public market today. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka informed the eligible depositors and relevant legal beneficiaries of eligible depositors of Swarna Mahal Financial Services PLC that the payment of additional compensation under the Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme will commence from Monday, May 10th onwards. Accordingly, the eligible depositors or the relevant legal beneficiaries of eligible deposits can collect their claims from any People's Bank branch commencing from May 10th by producing the relevant documents. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Digital accounts can now be opened in 10 minutes. People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
The Sri Lanka Police say it is conducting constant quarantine operations across the country and that 426 persons were arrested yesterday for the violation of quarantine rules and regulations such as not wearing face masks and maintaining social distancing. The police spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana stated that a special operation is underway in the Western Province with regard to the mobile vendors of public places such as bus stands and railway stations. DIG Ajit Rohana stated that a special operation has been carried out focused on the beaches, children's parks, swimming pools and other public places with regard to the quarantine rules and regulations. The National Building Research Organisation stated that 147 landslide-prone areas have been identified in 13 districts of the country. The project director of the organisation, RMS Bandara, said that 22 disaster-prone areas have been identified in the Colombo and Gampar districts as well as along the railway line from Rambukana to Badulla. Protective rock fences and slope stabilisation work has already commenced to prevent landslides and rocks falling onto the railway tracks. The project is being implemented with the assistance of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and the rehabilitation of the relevant disaster-prone areas is scheduled to be completed in 2023. A South African national who had arrived from Kenya had been taken into custody at the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayake with over 2.2 kilograms of cocaine, estimated to be worth around 60 million rupees. The Sri Lanka Customs said that the suspect, who had arrived from Nairobi, Kenya through Doha, was arrested by officers of the Customs Narcotics Control Unit at the airport this morning. Following a search of the passengers' personal items, the officers discovered 2.29 kilograms of cocaine in 3 packages concealed inside shampoo bottles, which were inside his travel bag. The arrested suspect and drugs are to be handed over to the Police Narcotics Bureau for further investigations, following the preliminary inquiries by the Narcotics Control Unit of the Sri Lanka Customs. That's local news.
Debit card, mobile and internet banking along with cardless cash facilities can now be open in just 10 minutes with no form filling with People's Bank Digital Banking.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The Minister of Youth and Sports, Nama Rajapaksa, says the opposition should not try to take political advantage from the COVID-19 pandemic prevailing in the country at present and instead should support the government in the fight against it. Minister Rajapaksa further said that the government will take every measure to prevent the spread of the coronavirus whilst prioritising solutions to problems faced by the public. Moreover, Minister Rajapaksa said, despite this challenge, the government is fully focused on improving the development and economic front. He made these comments during an inspection tour of the Varalavatta in Yakkala, where an intermediate care centre is being built, comprising 2,000 beds, and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Moving on to Watchlight, the police warn the public to be vigilant of circulating fake $100 notes and Sri Lanka currency notes. The police spokesman, DIG Ajit Rohan, has said the scam was revealed by the Criminal Investigations Department following further investigations conducted into the raids carried out by the local police in Anuradhapura, Kantale and Balachene. The CID has revealed in their investigations that the perpetrators had printed fake $100 notes in addition to the printing of Sri Lankan currency notes. The police advised the people to be vigilant when exchanging dollars and requested people to inform of any information of fake currency notes on telephone numbers 0112 326670 or 0112 320 145. The numbers again 0112 326670 or 0112 320 145. Moving on to a bulletin of world news. In the headlines, the EU and India agree to resume FTA negotiations. The Palestinian Red Crescent says at least 90 injured in second day of clashes between the Israeli police and Palestinians in Jerusalem. And Mother's Day around the world falls today. The European Union and India have agreed to restart negotiations on a bilateral free trade agreement. The two parties have also agreed to cooperate in a wide variety of fields, apparently with China's increasing presence in the Indo-Pacific region in mind. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and European Council President Charles Michel and other European leaders discussed areas of further cooperation at an online summit on Saturday. According to the Palestinian Red Crescent, at least 90 people were injured as Palestinians and Israeli police clashed in Jerusalem for a second night yesterday. The Palestinian Red Crescent says as many as 205 people were injured at Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque on Friday, when Israeli police in riot gear clashed with Palestinians following evening prayers. The clashes took place at several locations in Jerusalem, at the Damascus Gate and the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood, where some Palestinian families may face eviction. Mother's Day celebrated today, May 9th of this year. Mother's Day is celebrated every year to appreciate the efforts a mother puts in for her child. People usually give gifts and flower bouquets to their mothers to make this day special. This day is celebrated on different dates in various countries. Mother's Day is celebrated on the 4th Sunday of March in the memory of Mother Church on Christian Mothering Sunday in the UK. The day is observed on February 2nd in Greece, whereas many Arab countries celebrate it on March 21st. Most other countries, including India, celebrate Mother's Day on May 9th. Back to the headlines of the world news. The EU and India agree to resume FTA negotiations. The Palestinian Red Crescent says at least 90 injured in the second day of clashes between the Israeli police and Palestinians in Jerusalem. And Mother's Day around the world falls today. That concludes this bulletin of world news. On to development news. The Road Development Authority has commenced calling for tenders for the construction of flyovers within Colombo to ease traffic congestion. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved a proposal submitted by the Minister of Highways, Johnston Fernando, to construct flyovers in a bid to ease traffic congestion across the country and mainly in Colombo. As per the proposal, 2 flyovers will be constructed from Justice Akbar Mawatha and Uttrananda Mawatha via the Slave Island Railway Road. Another flyover will be constructed to connect the 2 flyovers. The Ministry of Highways said the flyovers will be constructed at a cost of 5,270 million rupees and came to you in development news.
Sports News is brought to you by...
When Aya bought a motorbike, he bought 2 helmets. So sweet of him. I'm sure the other one is for me.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
In athletics news, USA-based Sri Lankan athlete Ushan Tivanka Pereira has set a new South Asian and Sri Lankan high jump record at the 2021 Lone Star Conference Outdoor Track and Field Championships in Texas. The 23-year-old, who represents Texas and A&M University Commerce, set the record with a jump of 2.3 meters to place first in the men's high jump event at the Outdoor Championships. The former schoolboy of Maristella College, who left the country on a scholarship last year to Texas A&M University Commerce, is presently training and following his higher studies in Texas. In March this year, Tivanka had broken the long-standing Sri Lanka high jump record of 2.27 meters, which was set by Manjula Kumara Vijayasekara in 2004 and equalled in 2005. That's sports news. We look at business news next.
My wife always sets a full lunch table, even if it's just the two of us. She always expects people to drop by, like maybe the army.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
As an initiative of Festival, South Asia edition of Global Connect at the Singapore Business Federation, a webinar on accelerating growth of the food sector and a buyer-seller meet was organised together with the Enterprise Singapore and the Sri Lanka High Commission recently. The webinar provided an opportunity for the Sri Lanka Export Development Board to showcase Sri Lanka's supply capability and uniqueness of main exportable agri-produce in order to create awareness and to attract Singaporean buyers and distributors. A presentation was made by Additional Director General of the Sri Lanka Export Development Board, highlighting Sri Lanka's supply capability and investment in incentives available for further expanding export-oriented agri-food products. That came to you in Business News. Economic News up next.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
On to economic news. According to the central bank data, Sri Lanka's forex reserves grew $471 million in April 2021 to $4,476 million from $4,055 million in March. In April, Sri Lanka got a $500 million loan from the China Development Bank. Sri Lanka has also got $1.5 billion swap from the People's Bank of China, which is not drawn down. In March, the central bank bought about $75 million using a surrender requirement through rupee soft peg when the US dollar was under pressure due to excess liquidity. Authorities have set up non-credible peg at around 200 rupees to the US dollar. That's economic news.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue in partnership with the Ministry of Education introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Meteorological Department forecast showers or thundershowers to occur over most parts of the island during the evening or night. It further predicts heavy rainfalls above 100 millimetres at some places in the Sabragamuwa, Central, Northwestern, Western and Southern provinces and in the Polonnaruwa district. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimise damages caused by temporary localised strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue in partnership with the Ministry of Education introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Presidential Task Force on Economic Revival and Poverty Eradication convened at Temple Trees. COVID recoveries on the rise. Sri Lanka's largest army improvised COVID-19 hospital to be ready soon. The Piliyandala public market closed after more than 100 test positive for COVID-19. The Minister of Youth and Sports says the opposition should support the government in the fight against the pandemic instead of being divisive. The payment of additional compensation to the depositors of Swarna Mahal Financial Services to begin from Monday. The EU and India agree to resume FTA negotiations. And Ushan Tivanka sets new Sri Lanka and South Asian high jump record.